What if the greatest power a woman can ever have isn't beauty, money, or even love, but the courage to walk away? Most people chase, beg, and settle for less than they deserve. But the woman who knows her worth never has to. In this powerful Steve Harvey motivational speech, you'll discover why confidence, self-respect, and the willingness to leave what no longer serves you can completely transform your relationships and your life. Stay until the end, because one lesson could change how you see love, respect, and personal value forever. This message isn't just inspiring, it's life-changing. Let me tell you something. That changes everything the moment you truly understand it. The greatest power you will ever have isn't the power to make somebody stay. It isn't the power to make somebody love you. It isn't the power to change somebody's mind. Your greatest power is knowing you can walk away when your peace, your dignity, and your value are no longer being respected. Too many people spend years trying to convince someone to see what they should have seen from the very beginning. They work harder for attention than they do for their own dreams. They keep making excuses for broken promises. They keep believing that if they love harder, sacrifice more, or become someone else, everything will magically change. But let me ask you something. Why are you fighting so hard for a place where you were never truly appreciated? See, confidence isn't loud. Confidence doesn't beg. Confidence doesn't chase. Confidence knows its value before anyone else recognizes it. When you understand your worth, you stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Walking away doesn't mean you stop loving. Sometimes it means you finally started loving yourself enough to stop accepting less than you deserve. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Walking away hurts. It hurts because you invested your heart. It hurts because you imagine a future. It hurts because you hope things will get better. But here's what most people never realize. The pain of leaving is temporary. The pain of staying where you're constantly disrespected can last a lifetime. I've seen people stay in relationships that drained every ounce of confidence they had. Every day they became a smaller version of themselves just to keep somebody comfortable. They stopped speaking their minds. They stopped chasing their dreams. They stopped smiling the way they used to. And somewhere along the way, they forgot who they were. Never lose yourself. Trying to keep someone who isn't afraid of losing you. Here's something. Hi. Life teaches all of us sooner or later. The people who truly value, you don't have to be convinced to respect you. They don't make you question your worth every single day. Healthy love doesn't demand that you abandon yourself. Real respect doesn't require endless negotiation. The moment you realize that your value doesn't decrease because someone failed to recognize it, everything begins to change. You stop acting from fear. You stop making decisions based on loneliness. Instead, you begin choosing peace over chaos, growth over comfort, and self-respect over approval. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you become willing to walk away from what diminishes you, you make room for everything that honors you. New opportunities, healthier relationships, greater confidence, a stronger version of yourself that refuses to settle for less than the life you were created to live. Remember this, the strongest person in the room isn't the one holding on the longest. It's the one courageous enough to let go when staying costs their self-respect. Now let me take this one step further, because walking away is only possible when you truly know who you are. If you don't understand your own value, you'll spend your entire life letting other people decide it for you. And that's one of the most dangerous places you can live. The world has a funny way of testing your confidence. Some people will celebrate you when you're winning, but disappear when you're struggling. Others will only appreciate you when you're giving, sacrificing, and putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own. If you're not careful, you'll start believing your value comes from what you do instead of who you are. Listen carefully. Your worth isn't determined by someone's opinion. It isn't measured by how many texts you receive, how much attention you get, or whether someone chooses to stay. Those things come and go. Your value has to come from something deeper, something that nobody can take away. Too many people wake up every morning looking for validation. They check if someone called. They wonder if someone noticed them. They wait for compliments to feel beautiful, for applause to feel successful, for acceptance to feel complete. But if your confidence depends on other people, then other people control your happiness. That's giving away your power. The strongest people I've ever met have something in common. They know exactly who they are before they walk into any room. They don't need to announce it. They don't need to prove it. They carry themselves differently because their confidence isn't built on attention. It's built on conviction. Think about a diamond for a moment. A diamond doesn't become valuable because someone compliments it. It was valuable long before anybody discovered it. The same is true for you. Just because someone failed to recognize your worth doesn't mean your worth disappeared. It simply means they couldn't see what was standing right in front of them. Stop shrinking yourself so other people can feel comfortable. Stop apologizing for having standards. Stop believing you have to become less just to keep someone around. The people who belong in your life will never require you to abandon your identity just to earn their affection. Here's another truth. Every time you compromise your values to gain someone's approval, you lose a little piece of yourself. At first, it's small. You stay quiet when something hurts. You ignore behavior you know isn't right. You tell yourself, it's not that big of a deal. But over time, those little compromises become a life you no longer recognize. Your standards are not walls that keep love out. They're filters that keep the wrong people from taking advantage of your heart. The moment you truly believe you are enough, something incredible happens. You stop competing with everyone around you. You stop comparing your journey to somebody else's highlight reel. You stop chasing it. You already accept yourself. And that kind of confidence is impossible to fake. People can feel it before you even say a word. When you know your worth, your decisions become clearer. You choose relationships that bring peace instead of confusion. You choose opportunities that help you grow instead of keeping you stuck. You stop asking, will they choose me? And start asking, are they worthy of a place in my life? That's the shift that changes everything. Because the moment you stop searching for your value in other people, you discover it has been inside you all along. Never let someone else's inability to see your worth convince you that you don't have any. Now, once you know your worth, something powerful starts to happen. You stop running after people who keep running away from you. You stop exhausting yourself trying to earn love that should have been given freely. You realize that your life was never meant to be spent chasing people. Version of yourself. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the harder you chase some people, the faster they seem to pull away? That's because desperation is heavy. It creates pressure. It sends the message that your happiness depends on someone else's decision. And no relationship built on desperation can ever become healthy. Now, don't misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with making an effort. There's nothing wrong with showing love, communicating honestly, or fighting for something that's worth saving. But there's a difference between commitment and chasing. Commitment is mutual. Chasing is one-sided. Commitment says, we're building this together, chasing says. I'm carrying this relationship by myself. And nobody should have to carry love alone. Too many people lose years waiting for someone to change. They postpone their dreams. They ignore their purpose. They stop investing in themselves because they're too busy trying to fix somebody who doesn't even want to be fixed. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. Here's what I've learned. The greatest investment you'll ever make is in yourself. Read the books. Learn the skills. Take care of your health. Build your confidence. Strengthen your faith. Chase your purpose. Become someone you're proud to see in the mirror every morning. Because when your life has purpose, you stop making other people your entire purpose. See, people are naturally drawn to those who have direction. There's something attractive about a person who wakes up every day with goals, discipline, and a vision for their future. Not because they're perfect, but because they're growing. Growth. We're building this together, Chasen says. I'm carrying this relationship by myself. And nobody should have to carry love alone. Too many people lose years waiting for someone to change. They postpone their dreams. They ignore their purpose. They stop investing in themselves because they're too busy trying to fix somebody who doesn't even want to be fixed. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. Here's what I've learned. The greatest investment you'll ever make is in yourself. Read the books, learn the skills, take care of your health, build your confidence, strengthen your faith, chase your purpose, become someone you're proud of. Creates confidence. Confidence creates peace. And peace is far more attractive than desperation ever will be. Stop waiting for someone else to complete your life. Build a life that already feels complete. When you become focused on your own growth, something amazing happens. You stop taking rejection so personally. You understand that not every closed door is a loss. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes it's redirection. Sometimes life is removing people who would have held you back from the future you were meant to have. You see, not everyone is assigned to stay in your story forever. Some people are lessons. Some are blessings. Instead of asking, why did they leave? Start asking, what did this experience teach me? That's where growth begins. And let me tell you another secret. The people who truly belong in your life won't require you to stop growing just to keep them comfortable. They'll celebrate your progress. They'll encourage your dreams. They'll clap for your success instead of competing with it. That's what healthy relationships look like. So don't spend your energy proving your value to people who have already decided not to see it. Spend that energy becoming so strong, so wise, so disciplined, and so fulfilled that your life becomes an example of what's possible when you choose yourself. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to make someone regret losing you. They think boundaries push people away. They think saying no is rude. They think protecting your peace makes you difficult to love. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Boundaries don't destroy healthy relationships. They reveal unhealthy ones. The moment you start respecting yourself, you'll notice something interesting. Some people will celebrate the new you, and some people will become uncomfortable. Why? Because they benefited from the old version of you. The version that never spoke up. The version that always said yes. The version that sacrificed happiness just to keep everyone else comfortable. But listen to me carefully. You were never created to be a people pleaser at the cost of your own peace for too long. You've been taught that being kind means tolerating disrespect. That being loving means accepting behavior that breaks your spirit. That being patient means waiting forever for someone to become who they've been promising to be. No, kindness and weakness are not the same thing. Love and self-abandonment are not the same thing. Real love includes respect. If someone truly values you, they won't make you feel guilty for having standards. They won't get angry because you expect honesty. They won't call you too much simply because you refuse to accept too little. The right people don't fear your boundaries. They honor them. Think about your home for a moment. You lock your doors every night, not because you hate, because they ask for it. Every yes you give to the wrong person is often a no to your own peace. And here's where many people struggle. They think boundaries require long speeches and endless explanations. They don't. Sometimes the strongest boundary is your silence. Sometimes it's walking away from an argument that isn't leading anywhere. Sometimes it's refusing to answer disrespect with more disrespect. Maturity isn't winning every battle. Maturity is choosing which battles are no longer worth your energy. Life becomes so much lighter when you stop trying to fix everyone. You can't make people respect you if they have already decided not to. You can't force honesty out of someone committed to deception. You can't build trust alone. Relationships are partnerships, not rescue missions. If you're the only one fighting to keep things together, eventually you'll realize you've been fighting yourself more than anyone else. Protect your peace like it's one of the most valuable things you own. Because it is. There will always be people who misunderstand your boundaries. They'll call you selfish because you stopped overextending yourself. They'll say you've changed because you no longer tolerate what once hurt you. Let them talk. Growth always looks strange to people who are comfortable with your old limits. You don't need permission to choose peace. You don't need approval to protect your heart. You don't need applause for deciding that you're mental, emotional, and spiritual. They understand that every healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, honest communication, and shared responsibility. Anything less would eventually cost you more than it's worth. So don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to step back. Don't be afraid to disappoint people who only appreciated you when you were sacrificing yourself for them. Because the moment you protect your peace without apologizing, you teach the world exactly how you expect to be treated. Now, let me leave you with the truth that ties everything together. Life has a way of teaching us one lesson over and over again until we finally accept it. You cannot step into the future meant for while holding on to everything from your past. At some point, growth demands that you let go. And that's the part that scares most people. We hold on because we're comfortable. We hold on because we've invested time. We hold on because we're afraid that if we let go, there won't be anything better waiting for us. So we stay in relationships that no longer bring peace. We stay in situations that no longer help us grow. We keep carrying emotional baggage that gets heavier every single year. But let me ask you something. How can your hands receive something new if they're still tightly gripping what was never meant to stay? Sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't starting over. Sometimes it's simply deciding that you're finished settling. People often think letting go means you failed. That's not true. And start measuring it by what you're becoming. Every season has a purpose. There are people who come into your life to encourage you. There are people who come to challenge you. There are people who come to teach you painful lessons you never wanted to learn. But not everyone is supposed to make the entire journey with you. Some people are chapters, not the whole story. The mistake we make is trying to turn temporary people into permanent destination. Listen, don't let one disappointment convince you that your best days are behind you. Don't let one broken relationship make you believe you'll never be loved again. Don't let one failure define the rest.